There was a time when value didn't announce itself. It didn't come with price tags, certificates, or online listings. It lived quietly, inside drawers that stuck, cupboards that smelled like wood and dust, and boxes no one opened unless something was missing. Grandma never thought of these things as special. They weren't investments. They were simply part of life. They stayed because they worked, because they lasted, and because throwing them away felt like losing something useful. Today, in a world built to replace everything, those quiet survivors have become rare. And some of them, shockingly, are worth a fortune. This is American Restored. And these are 15 forgotten items from Grandma's house worth a fortune today. 1. Quiet dishes. They only appeared on days that mattered. The cabinet door opened slowly, almost respectfully, and suddenly the room felt different. Voices softened. Movements became careful. These dishes weren't about eating. They were about honoring time together. Each chip, each faded pattern told a story of holidays, birthdays, and quiet Sundays. Today, collectors seek these sets not just for their beauty, but for the memory of a time when meals were events, not distractions. What was once ordinary now carries both history and serious value. 2. Heavy wood. This furniture didn't arrive in pieces. It didn't wobble or complain. It stayed exactly where it was placed, year after year. Made from solid wood, joined with care, it held family photos, folded linens, and memories of decades. The scratches and dents weren't flaws. They were proof that this piece had lived with the family, witnessed growth, and survived change. Today, collectors pay handsomely for furniture like this because it wasn't just made. It was meant to last. 3. Kitchen glass. Simple, colorful, practical. Bowls, measuring cups, storage jars. They went from oven to table to cupboard without ceremony. Certain colors, patterns, or sizes, once unnoticed, have become incredibly rare. These glass pieces survived countless washes, knocks, and everyday chaos. Today, collectors value them not because they're new, but because they were made to endure, and they did, quietly, faithfully, and beautifully. 4. Living time. No batteries. No screens. Just gears, springs, and patience. Pocket watches, wall clocks, or small desk timepieces measured the day with mechanical precision. They didn't demand attention, but rewarded care. Their movements ticked on for generations, carrying the rhythm of a household. Today, collectors pay for these pieces not for convenience, but for craftsmanship that defied the throwaway culture of modern life. 5. Statement pieces. Thick chains, bold clasps, or oversized earrings. Jewelry that didn't whisper, it spoke. It was made to be noticed, to last, to hold character. Once dismissed as outdated or excessive, these pieces are now prized for their materials, artistry, and fearless design. They reflect an era when self-expression mattered, and collectors today pay for both the story and the substance. 6. Silent change. Coins rattled in jars, drawers, and coat pockets, ignored by everyone. Small minting errors, rare dates, or discontinued runs turned some into treasures over decades. These coins weren't saved intentionally. They survived because no one thought to spend them. Today, those forgotten pennies and dimes are worth hundreds or even thousands, a quiet testament to how neglect can create value. 7. Vanity glass. Even empty perfume bottles were never discarded. Hand-cut stoppers, thick glass, and intricate designs reflected a time when beauty mattered, even when function was gone. Some of these bottles now sell for more than the fragrance they once held. They are proof that careful design, elegance, and permanence were valued, and that patience and artistry survived the decades. 8. Paper trails. Tiny stamps, postcards, or letters quietly traveled the world. Some had misprints, limited editions, or errors unnoticed at the time. These small pieces of paper are now priceless to collectors because history never repeats itself exactly. They survive journeys and handling, yet retain stories of the world before digital communication. Their value is quiet, but extraordinary. 9. Care tools. Buttons, needles, thread, and small tins of pins weren't hobbies. They were essential tools for extending life. Clothes were repaired, patched, and preserved. These items represent patience, resourcefulness, and skill. Today, collectors value them because such care is rare, and the tools are a tangible reminder of a time when every stitch mattered. 10. Marked pages. Books that were read, loved, and lived with. Notes in the margins, dog-eared pages, faded covers, all evidence of human presence. Collectors don't just seek first editions, they want fingerprints of life. Each page tells a story of someone learning, pondering, and passing time. What was once a household item has become a window into lived history. 11. Living history. Warm metals, old letters, uniforms, and personal relics weren't decorations, they were witnesses. They carried the weight of stories, sacrifices, and experiences no museum label could fully explain. Today, collectors pay for these items not for appearance, but for the endurance of memory. Every scratch, dent, or fold represents survival. 12. First machines. Radios with static warmth, cameras built like engines, early computers that looked awkward. These were marvels of their time. They weren't perfect, but they paved the way for revolutions. Today, collectors pay more for them than for luxury items. They're reminders that progress starts quietly, in homes where ordinary people used extraordinary tools. 13. Crafted light. Stained glass lamps, hand-soldered bronze fixtures, or intricate chandeliers were made to last. Each one shaped light with care and intention. These weren't designed to be replaced. They were designed to be admired, to shape rooms and memories for decades. Collectors now pay a premium for the craftsmanship, durability, and artistry that mass manufacturing can never reproduce. 14. Journey leather. Scuffed suitcases, travel bags with heavy brass locks, leather that softened with age. These weren't accessories, they were companions. They traveled across cities, states, and sometimes countries, carrying stories along with belongings. Today, collectors prize these pieces not just for materials, but for the journeys they survived and the stories they carry. 15. Stitched warmth. Every quilt, blanket, and throw made by hand carried more than warmth. Every pattern, every stitch reflected thought, patience, and care. They weren't just decoration, they were love sewn into fabric. Nothing modern can replicate that craftsmanship. And today, these quilts are worth more than material. They are pieces of lived experience preserved in thread. Final thoughts. These items weren't collected, they were lived with. They survived ordinary days, quiet moments, and celebrations that no one recorded. They endured because they mattered. If this story brought back a memory, like this video and subscribe to American Restored. Because history isn't always in museums. Sometimes, it's still sitting quietly in Grandma's house.